Lobos drawing up a play, presumably to get a 3. You have to assume that Hill's going to make the free throws, right? Mm-hmm. And you're only going to get one shot at it with 8.5 seconds left.
Right. But there's, 8.5 seconds. You can
do a lot.
Yeah. Drive the full length of the court and pitch out to a shooter. Or
So Hill at the line with these big free throws. He's the transfer from Tulsa and a Bakersfield native. First free throw, front iron, glass in down at San Joaquin Valley that runs down the central portion of the state, extends all the way down to Bakersfield, and it's about 2 hours ride from Fresno. Second free throw for Hill. Back rim, no good. Rebound, Rod Brown. Lobos down 2.
You need a 3. You can attack the rim.
Francis across the timeline. Francis tried to hand it off to Malowich. McQuatch got it back. Corner 3 on the way for McQuatch. Back rim no good as time expires, and the Lobos fall 64-62 in Fresno.
It was that excruciating. As tough as it was to sit there and listen to that, it was that excruciating last night for a Lobo fan. It was a tantalizing, frustrating, excruciating, painful, exciting game after a 19-19 first half in which Fresno State did not have a 2-point bucket. Lobos play good enough defense at the end of the game and have a lead by 4 points in the final minute of overtime and lose in Fresno 64-62. That was courtesy of UNM Radio Network, Hunter Green and Robert Portner. Good Friday to you. I know you stayed up late, or many of you did. Some of you didn't. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Mike is producing on the radio side. It's Jay Pohl and looks like Alden over there on the TV side. Dude, you had an exciting game. The women win 82-80 on a Shai Magruder layup with 2.4 seconds to go. So you get a great call and a huge win for the ladies. And then you come back, and I know you stayed up late and watched the men last night. They're down 4 with 38 seconds to go in regulation. Terrific defense, 2 steals. They generate overtime. They're up by 4. And I don't know where you were, but I'm laying there kind of trying to hold on, thinking, all right, no overtime again, but they're going to win this damn game. And they didn't.
The Lobos defended well enough to win, but when it counted, they were so sloppy with the basketball.
Golly, again.
So bad. Lazy passes, turning it over, not even getting a attempt up on that final possession of overtime with everything that went on. And it goes back to this team, when they're on, we know what's going to happen. Is they're actually going to give you a ton of effort. They're going to defend really hard, but then they're going to have moments on the offensive end that you're just left pulling your hair out. But last night, you actually saw it. When they hit some tough mid-range jumpers, Coach Malowich worked himself into the game. Efficient, the thing for him, 2s over 3s. When he's playing that mid-range game, he's pretty good. I thought Jeremiah Francis played his backside off in that second half, especially coming up late, hitting the bucket in the final seconds. You talked about as the Lobos made plays at the end of regulation, but ultimately when it tightened up, they were the ones throwing the ball away, as Fresno State and Deion Stroud, who did not play in the first half, and then he took it out on the rim in the second half, just made some monster impact plays down the stretch.
Deion Stroud could pose too. He likes himself. He's pretty impressed with his dunks and his own stuff. He sure does like what he does, and he got a technical for it. Look, I thought at the end of regulation, it was Fresno State who looked uncomfortable and threw the ball away. And as much as you're going to sit here and give the Lobos credit for making that happen at the end of regulation, Fresno State, I thought, looked uncomfortable, and it was the same way at the end of overtime. You would think under a minute on the clock at the end of a game, the team with the lead has the advantage. But in both of those situations, the team with the lead with a minute or with 38 seconds didn't have the advantage. And this was, I just felt again at the end of the game like I did at the end of the UNLV game, the other one close game, where they just looked uncomfortable. And, I guess you got to learn how to win and go back to all that crap. But they should have won that game once they got it to overtime. Once they were up by 4, with a minute to go, and I'm thinking, dang, and you heard the call on the last play, and if you didn't stay up to watch it. And, Hunter's right. There's plenty of time. They did not need a three-point play. I was thinking. I thought through that. It's the reason I don't sleep at night, because I think over stuff that doesn't matter to me. But I'm going to assume that was one of the plays drawn up. Like, I can't believe that was the only play drawn up, right? That was a play drawn up at halftime if he makes them both and you're down by 3 and get the ball to McQuatch and have him, whatever. You had 8.2 seconds, JJ. You're down by 2, get it to the rim or get a better shot. A lazy pass by Saquon, who, by the way, it was Singleton, right, who had the ball? He had 9 turnovers. And you did, that shot didn't count. Like, even if it went, the shot was off. How do you not find something with 8.2 seconds to go coming out of a timeout?
Yeah, it was Francis.
That was Francis? Okay, I like the way Francis played. That was that.
Yeah, and you just look at the play. It was designed. Francis was going straight, and then he cuts to his left, and it was just going to be a handoff to Malawach. And I don't know if he lost his dribble, what happened, and ended up being like an awkward flip. And it looked like Malawach was supposed to keep his momentum coming and swing around to the top of the key and either get a shot up or himself continue inside. And once that pass was bobbled, it just blew up everything right there at the end. And like I said, they got a shot up, but it was after.
But they didn't.
Yeah. So.
But they didn't. So it's frustrating. All right, we're here for you at 505-246-0610. How do you feel after this one? I told you going in, I didn't think 7.5 was enough. Would have lost that bet. I thought the Aztecs were getting too much or given too much at 14.5. They were up by 40 again at some point. You watch them at all? They were up 70-something, 30-something at one point. I mean, they're blowing fools out right now.
That's why I said it was a trap game. Because you look at that, and I know so many people were going to be all over Wyoming, and they won by 30.
I'm glad I'm just not betting. They had 63 points at halftime, and I told Audra, they have 63 at halftime. I said, I will bet you the Lobos do not score 63 all game. And they went to overtime and almost scored 63. They scored 62. But I'm like, oh, damn, they're going to score 60. That's they're beating fools up right now. That's who the Lobos get next. But after this Fresno series, I just go back to New Mexico because this is where we're going to be today. 24 out of Malawach, 14 out of Singleton with 10 rebounds. But your point guard's got to not turn the ball over 9 freaking times. 10 from Francis and Aldir Manuel off the bench. And to your point, I thought Francis played some good minutes. He hit their only three-pointer of the game. They're 1 of 9 from 3. There were some really weird numbers in this game. We'll get into stats later. But 1 of 9 for them shooting three-pointers, 11 of 19 from the free throw line, which is not great. And Fresno State did not, of their 21 baskets, 10 of them were three-pointers. I don't know that I've ever seen a college basketball team not have a 2-point field goal in the first half or any half of basketball.
No, and that's what it's so mind-boggling. If the Lobos could just figure out something offensively, put themselves in a little bit better position with that kind of effort, they can win games like this. But the offense is still such a struggle that they're going to be in tight contests. And it's 19-19 at half. They're defending their backsides off for 40 minutes. Everything was good enough to win, even in the extra 5 minutes. And I got a tweet from Bobby, and he said, weirdest season ever. These dudes don't stop fighting. They keep swinging even when it looks like a lost cause. I'm proud of this team. And it's interesting because I think people, at least over the last 2 weeks, are noticing the effort. With as disappointed as they've been with Lobo basketball, this team, at least to this point, has not given up. San Jose State was a bad second half, but you look at the last 5 games, they're playing hard.
Well, it's funny because the conversation coming out of the last game was about effort. So it feels selective to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had an effort. They beat San Jose State, and then they didn't show up for the next game. And that's the whole conversation coming out of the last game was about effort, about how that lack of how could they come out with that, and this one's on me, yeah, they didn't give up last night. They play. I'll give to your guy who sent you the tweet. I'll give you that last night. Like for the most part, they played hard in the second game at UNLV. They played hard in the first game against San Jose State. Yeah, all right. They didn't play hard. I mean, with all due respect, the second San Jose State game, that's all we
Yeah,
talked
the second half was terrible. But it would be easy for it to just continue to erode after these results.
No, I hear that. And yeah, they played hard last night. They played like, and honestly, at times, they looked like a basketball. I'm not gonna tell you good, real. Like there were times that first half where I'm like, what are we watching? Why do I have to sit up and watch this crap? Like honestly, did you watch the first half of basketball? Did you come away feeling a little dirty? That 1919 first half? CBS Sports Network's going, why are we doing this league?
Where's the offense?
1919 was the score at halftime. But I'll give them the second half, and they played well. They did. And to your point, they found ways to hit mid-range jumpers, which, Malawach was hitting shots, and Francis, and I like, wow, okay. I'm starting to see some of the stuff that they're talking about. I was asking, what are you excited about? Who are you excited about? They played without Isaiah Marin, and Nolan Dorsey didn't make the trip, and Paul was fairly cryptic about it afterwards. Yeah, they didn't give up. Okay, good job, good effort.
That's what I said yesterday, right? It's not where you want to be as a fan, and the reality of it is they lost another game. But it's the good job, good effort portion of the year for Lobo basketball. When you're looking at this team play, you just the last thing you want is just to see players give up.
Yeah,
and
I'm
it's
down.
an easy thing to do, and I understand it. It's not moral victories. No one's in this for moral victories. Got it. But last night was one where you did see ultimately the challenges, and we keep going back to this team in clutch moments. Do they have what it takes? Look like they might have at the end of regulation, but unfortunately in overtime, not so much.
All right, 505-246-0610 is how to get to us today. 505-246-0610. Did you stay up? Did you watch it? How do you feel about it? Because there was progress. And to JJ's point, he's right. They didn't give up. Okay. How do you feel? Big win for the ladies. They beat Fresno State last night, 82-80 in Canyon, Texas. We'll get through the rest of the league. We got obviously a lot of football to get through as well. Lakers lose back-to-back on the road to Detroit. Detroit basketball. 505-246-0610. You can watch the show on ProView Networks or listen on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You've seen Rich Eisen on...
Call it as Hot is looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man. Touchdown. Wildcats. Not a defender inside. A little bit. Webskowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards. He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball, he's got some space, and it's caught! Still on his feet, touchdown! Storm! Wow. Santa Maria!
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is, a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way. Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high RP.
It's a ball from the referee. 5.6 seconds left on the clock. Anderson gets in Magruder. Magruder drives down the lane, 2 steps, right-hand layup attempt. Gets it to go. Magruder, look at that. Just all of us on the edge of our seats. What a finish by Shai Magruder.
That's huge. I mean, just catching at the top of the key, 1 quick fast steps, taking it all the way to the basket for New Mexico to be up by 2.
Winner, winner. Go get some dinner. JJ Buck, Nikki Heckroth, Lobato on the UNM Radio Network. The suspense. The ball hanging on the rim. Lobos win 82-80 over Fresno State. Huge win for your Lobo women's program yesterday.
How about that? Answering the question for the first time, could they be conference contenders going up against big bad Fresno State, who's coming off a sweep against Boise State, a game in which Lobos did not shoot the basketball well. They were 6 of 30 from 3 and yet found a way to score 82 points. What a fantastic matchup, and excited for some Saturday morning basketball running it back.
All right, 505-246. So you got the Lobo women winning by 2 in Canyon, Texas over Fresno State. The Lobo men go to overtime and lose by 2, 64-62 late night. A heartbreaker for the men. Let's go to you, 505-246-0610. Ray, good morning. You're on the Quans Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I watched that Lobo game. At the end of the game, I thought Singletary was going to go to the hole, but I just don't understand why he went to the left. His strong side is the right side, and the announcer even said that he could have went straight to the hole on the right side, either make the basket or get fouled, and he chose to go left and shoot a little fadeaway. That just wasn't a good shot. I think he's just like trying a little too hard. But Francis, it was good to see him play. I've always been disagreeing with Weir that he comes in, and like last night the announcer even said, he comes in, Weir puts him in for a minute, plays a minute and a half, and then he takes him out. And that's what he's been doing the whole time. Second half, he finally let him play, and he had a little sweat, and look how good he looked. He looked like he's starting to come into form, but the effort was good for the Lobos. They played defense finally on the big boy, and hopefully it's going to continue. But that's a hard loss. They should have won last night, and good luck for the women.
All right, Ray, thanks. On Francis, JJ, he played 24 minutes, only turned the ball over once, had 10 points, a couple of rebounds. I thought, and he hit their only three-pointer. And it had a big steal at the end of regulation. Which sent the game to overtime. I thought he played well, and it was interesting that he was on the floor in key moments. Right? It's they always tell you, and they're right. Whoever they are, it doesn't matter who starts, who's finishing games. Who's in there at the end? Who's in there in clutch situations? That's what really matters. And I thought some of the lineups that were out there, and certainly the one at the end of the game, told you a lot.
And for Francis, he played his way out of the rotation. I mean, he was in such a bad shooting slump. At what point do you make that decision and say, you know what, Francis, I'm going to pull your minutes back a little bit? And that's what we saw. It was Saquon Singleton and Isaiah Marin over the last couple of games just taking over at the point guard position. And guess what? One of those point guards wasn't available last night in Marin, and it gave Francis the opportunity to step up and earn some minutes back. Played really good in the second half, which I thought was probably the best minutes of basketball he's played the entire season. It felt like a good combination between him and Singleton. You know, each of those guys able to take a little bit of pressure off each other. But it's been a ridiculously hard season to play point guard for the Lobos because who are you setting up?
That's right.
And that's been the biggest challenge is we're focused so much on the point guard shooting because they can't set anyone else up.
Malawach had 17 field goal attempts last night. After that, it was your point guard. I'm sorry, no, that's not right. Valdir Manuel had 15. And he only made 5 of them. 41 minutes played for Malawach, and then Singleton was your next guy. Obviously, there's something there with Singleton. Now, look, 9 turnovers is just you just can't. 9 out of the 18, he had half of your team's turnovers. It's your point guard. He's got the ball in your hand most of the time. Jeff, you got to understand. No, I absolutely understand. You just can't. 9's too many. But I'm down with the way he plays. He was 6 of 9 field goal shooting. I got no problems with him getting the minutes. Paul's short in the bench. You know, I don't even have a problem with any of the rotation stuff last night. There's not much I have a problem with, except for the way they executed when they were up late in overtime. I give them a ton of credit for defense. As much as people want to rip on Paul, and that's fine. They're 1 in 10 now? And do you find it interesting, like when you watch the huddles, he's not even in the huddle. Like Padgett's doing all the coaching. Paul's kind of on the outside, then he walks away, and it's not rare. Craig Neal used to drop a lot of plays. I don't think people realize for Steve Alford, but Steve was always in the huddle. It was weird at the end of the game, like Paul's just kind of in his t-shirt, kind of standing. What did his t-shirt say, by the way? I never could get a good read on it. Paul's t-shirt that he was wearing yesterday.
I don't know the exact saying on his T-shirt, but I know there was a
Coaches
Cancer
versus
Cancer game, so I assume it was something along those lines.
All right, but Paul's got to get some. You know, the coaching staff's got to get some credit for the defense. They got the back of the game at the end of regulation, right? The trapping defense.
Yeah, the players were able to make plays late.
It's amazing how good you are when you coach. When players make play, I can't read that, Michael. What's that say?
Suits and sneakers.
All right, suits and sneakers, but it's a T-shirt. All right, yeah, because the Fresno guys were all wearing their suits and sneakers.
It's like those tuxedo T-shirts.
Like, wait a minute, man! Now your coach is wearing a long sleeve T-shirt and a T-shirt over it. That's how we're coaching games. I'm like, all right, do what you got to do. I mean, it's a weird season. But yeah, JJ, I thought at the end of the game, it was again, what are we going to do? And if you listen to the call again, if you didn't see the play, you had 8.2 seconds. Like Hunter Green said, you got plenty of time. And they didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah, and it comes down to the missed handoff. So Francis was driving, then he goes to his left because the play is ultimately to get the ball to Makwach Malawach. And they kind of mess up the exchange. Fresno State is able to then jump all over it, and then that's why they don't get a shot up.
Yeah. All right, I'll get you some of the emails that you're sending in. Did you stay up and watch the game? It's another interesting piece. You know, I got a text from one of my good buddies who's a big Lobo fan, and he's like, I'm done. I'm not watching it. Another one said, I'm not watching it, but then I got a text at 11:35 last night about the game, so he did watch it, obviously. I mean, it's that whole thing. But He said, I haven't watched, another one said, I haven't watched a Lobo basketball game in over a month. Wow, that's the worst Lobo basketball team I've seen in 50 years. How did we get so bad? I'm not even getting up. I'm going to bed. They made me lose all my passion. Good night. I'm like, all right, dude. I quit. Going to bed, he said. So, you missed a good ending. I mean, how do you feel about the team? Because I walk away feeling, all right, there's something there. That's not a good team they played. I got it. But they held the 7-footer to 4 points. Yeah, he got 16 rebounds, Robinson. But honestly, like I thought they played better than the San Jose State game that they won. There were times last night in the second half. First half was brutal. But in the second half, I watched a game where I'm like, all right, they look like a basketball team to me.
Yeah, and that's the only way you – well, not the only way, but it's the good job, good effort feeling I keep going back to is it's a bad season for Lobo basketball. They haven't been a good basketball team, and so you start looking at things like effort. Are the players competing? Are they finding a way to give themselves a chance? They did that last night, and I get it. No one likes moral victories. You're past the point of no return in a lot of regards with opinions on the head coach or even on just climbing back into the season. But the last thing you want to see for these student athletes is then them to just give up and just stop playing, because then it's going to get even worse if it gets to that point. And last night, it wasn't anything to do with effort defending. It was just when it mattered the most, they were sloppy with that basketball.
Well, all right, let's hear from you. 505-246-0610. You can get in on the women. Big win for them. We'll get through the Mountain West last night as well, and what happened there. And at least one interesting number for you. One not unexpected. The other one maybe a little unexpected for you. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, and then we'll score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes! And the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high, window, scores, and is fouled. here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What around the screen against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up. Rebound, Cowboys. Right side, David Hall.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, obviously we were down, backs against the wall, and the guys executed. You're doing a good job, Rob, of trying to dwell on some positives. It's a tough one. This is a tough one for all of us to swallow. The guys played so hard. I'm so proud of them. I would have loved to have seen them come away with a win tonight. They deserve it. They've earned it. I can't think of a better group of kids to be coaching right now. I feel sick to my stomach about just the pain they're continuing to endure, but this is our life lesson, and this is our cross to bear, and we're just going to keep working through this and hope we can come through better again the next time something like this comes around.
Lobo men's basketball coach Paul Weir, courtesy of the UNM Radio Network, talking to Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green on the postgame show after a 64-62 overtime loss late last night in Fresno. Lobos fall to 1-10 in conference play, had a 4-point lead in the final minute of overtime. We're down by 4 with 38 seconds to go in regulation. Fought their way back, forced steals, made plays, especially defensively, but they followed, they cashed the check on the defensive plays by going down and making them count and scoring on the offensive end, forcing overtime, playing really well in overtime. His response was to a question by Robert Portnoy. Robert does a great job. He's a Lobo broadcaster. He's trying to find something good in a 1-10 season where you're getting blued out a lot, and this was a tough one. They didn't get blued out. They lose by 2 in overtime, and of course Rob starts with a positive. Quite well. Your defense played well enough to win, and Paul says you're doing a hell of a job trying to find the positive in this, and that's that's what Rob does. He does a good job of that. I just JJ, the frustration is going to be this one. I'm not going to tell you it's going to last for long because they're going to play in 2 days, and you're not going to remember this one after whatever happens the Fresno State game second go around. But in a season where there has not been a lot of chances, last night was a chance. You're going to play them again tomorrow at the Save Mart Center. Do you anticipate being able to keep Fresno State to 30% shooting and 19 points in the first half? And they played without one of their best players in the first half, but you played even with them in the second half. 19-19 in the first half, 38 or whatever it was in the second half. Do you anticipate Fresno State, shooting the ball as poorly as they did?
The percentages will probably bounce back a little bit in their favor. The Lobos will give themselves a chance if they're able to come out with that effort. But we just saw what happened last weekend against San Jose State team as they came back out on Saturday after what was a win and a moment of positivity and didn't have that same kind of performance. And it's going to be tough to bank on it until you see it consistently in back-to-back games in these series. And for Fresno State, they're sitting there, the big sigh of relief, because I'm sure that a lot of the things they looked at, and they just probably felt like it was missed shots, missed opportunities on the offensive end. And Lobos are looking at it as like, man, we defended our backsides off. We made it a ugly night for Fresno State, and yet here we still are. And that is why, it doesn't matter for the Lobos, those players in the locker room. If it was a close game, it's still just another loss on their record.
Kind of what you're saying, your perspective, you go back and look at missed shots. Gopher says, remember when the NBA used to have 2 to make 1 free throws, Jeff? And it used to be if you were in the bonus and you got fouled shooting, you have 2 to make 1. There used to be 3 to make 2 back in the NBA back in the day. He said, well, that's basically what Singleton ended up having to clinch the game, and he bricked them both. That was the backbreaker. Free throws, they were 11 of 19 at the free throw line. I mean, you could look back at that. It's not a good percentage. You know, it's you got to. There's plenty of missed opportunities on this one. I think to your point, they cared. You looked at it at the end. They honestly looked beat up by this one. They cared. I don't know if you all care, but it felt like they cared. It was a better effort. Are you past better effort? Are you past moral victories? I don't know, man. I'll tell you this: it was better effort, especially the second half, than I thought I was going to see last night. Watch that first half. We're coming off that San Jose State game where there was no effort. They come home. What are we going to see? They're practicing in the pit. They didn't quit. I'll give you that. To JJ, to your point, they did not quit. I mean, and I think we've come to a conclusion. Okay, this is just not a very good basketball team. But I saw glimpses last night. I did, and was it glimpses that make me feel great about the future of this team? I'm not sure, but at least I saw some progress, and that's what if you look at the last 2 of the last 3 games, yeah, they're playing not good teams, but they're not a good team. So at least they were competitive, right? They won a game. They had a chance to win a game.
I don't think there's going to be anything that you pull out of this season that's going to get you excited for the future. I just don't see it, especially the fans, and a lot of people still do care. It's the amount of people that were still up watching that game last night with all the circumstances surrounding this basketball team. You could possibly tune out from the results, but most of global basketball fans, still do care. Which is why they're so upset and getting to that point of saying they don't want to watch it anymore and trying to pull out so they stop getting hurt watching this level of basketball team play. But this year, it's just about the character. Like, what are you going to show as a player? I don't think there's anything that we're going to watch, as you've tried to point out. Like, what is the thing that's going to pop? What's going to get you excited? I'm not sure you're going to be able to take anything out of this season. Maybe a little bit about Valdir at least improving as a basketball player. But other than that, it's just going to be, are they going to be able to show up, play hard, compete to give themselves a chance the rest of the way? Because this ship has sailed on this team, I think, turning it around in a positive way to do anything meaningful.
All right. And that's probably right. But you're looking for some positives, and you almost got one last night. 505-246-0610, 888-926. Wait, what is it? 888-926. Nobody uses that number anyway. 505-246-0610. Emails jeff@610knml.com. jj@610knml.com. John says, well, in an ugly game that the Bows could have actually pulled out, assist to turn over ratio below 60%. Free throw actually made the difference. But one thing that stands out is almost every stat was equal. Overall shooting, rebounding, but 4 total assists stand out. Yeah, that number's crazy. Especially on 1 to 9. On a 1 to 9 from 3-point shooting and missing several ugly forced shots. But hey, great game for the ladies. What's he talking about on that? This is kind of the lowest assist number in however many. On 25 field goals, they had 4 assists. It's almost impossible, JJ.
It just goes back to they don't have shot makers, and thus a lot of the shots that they do happen to get aren't coming off ball movement, aren't really within a flow of the offense. It was pretty much Malawach and Francis in that second half hitting a bunch of tough mid-range jumpers to keep them going.
Yeah. All right, I got some stuff on the ladies, and I want to get into the ladies' game when we get back, because you had an exciting one yesterday. We'll get to the phones as well. 505. I don't know if we could take that caller. Man, that's the guy who cussed on the air the other day. Didn't we ban him for the rest of the week? He can't come back this week. JJ, am I allowed to take a caller who cussed on the air the other day?
Woo! I mean, we're going to have to debate that during the break.
Dang, Micah. All right, we'll have that conversation. 505-246-0610. Big win for your ladies on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Discover magic.
Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Lamina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Dunk you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
Here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the. Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Over. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal
by Davino Lovato. And here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Palm. Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side foot. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in.
Well, we put that in, over the last week, and that's obviously a play that we try when we need a 2-point basket at the end. It only takes about 3 seconds to run, and they got one option off of it. In case that's not going on, but so that was good. Shai made the play. We had a huge advantage quickness-wise on that, so that part worked out good.
Mike Bradbury, kind of giddy, talking to J.J. Buck on the UNM radio network after the ladies beat Fresno State 82-80, talking about the inbounds play he designed to set up Shai Magruder for the winning layup with 2.4 seconds to go. You got an Elise Hurst steal after that to put the icing on the Canyon cake as they win in Canyon, Texas yesterday. A big win for the Lady Lobos. JJ, interesting. It was a good game back and forth. You had excitement. You had a real test. We went into this talking about what we're going to learn a lot about the ladies. It's a team who was the regular season champion last year in the Mountain West and Fresno State, just swept Boise State, and really consistently one of the better programs in this conference. So, all right, that's good. You're beating up on some of these teams. How are you against the best? And you got a pretty good answer yesterday.
We're able to pass the first test. And what has really impressed me about the women's team this year is the evolution of a team that was just so much better than everyone else, and they're just hitting threes like crazy, and you're like, well, that's not going to be sustainable when you get to better competition, because as you've seen across the board throughout Mountain West play, the percentages have dropped, but they've been able to not just be a three-point shooting team. They need to drive to the basket. You saw it last night. They were 6 of 30 from three, so what did they do? They had to stop shooting the threes, get inside, get in the middle of the zone, hit some mid-range jumpers, hit some clutch free throws late. Jaden De La Cerda hit her final 4 free throws in the closing minutes of that contest. And it's the players that are stepping up when they're not scoring, whether it's Elise Hurst, who has a couple games, which is just wild to think about it. Player coming off hitting over 90-plus three-pointers last season, and yet she'll be in a game only scoring 2 points, and they can find a way to win because of the way she plays defensively. Or the starting point guard last night, LaTorra Duff, not shooting well at all, but comes up with ties for a team-high 7 rebounds. And so they're getting good performances out of multiple players doing different things to find ways to win. And Saturday should be a lot of fun because you expect Fresno State to respond in terms of some of the things that they were doing offensively and missing some shots at the basket. And we'll see. But it's a good step forward for UNM. Get you excited for the stretch run where they're going to have to play Boise State. They're going to have to play Colorado State. So all the big teams are still in front of them.
7-1 on the season, 4-1 in conference play for the University of New Mexico after that win. What time on Saturday do you take the air?
10:30.
I know you know this. In the morning. Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, 10:30 pregame show, 11 o'clock from Canyon, Texas. and then the men will be over on News Radio KKOB. After that, I thought the biggest difference yesterday was the return of Nikki Heckroth-Labato. Having her
real MVP. Let me tell you, some challenges last night, especially in the first quarter. Nikki rolled with the punches. Always fun calling a game with her. And she came up big last night for sure.
Yeah, she's a pro. I enjoyed working with her as well. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. So Dan says, was it tape delay on for Juan Jose? Jeffrey and Micah John, I forgot, he says, the Lady Lobos were even playing until I got an alert on my phone. Lady Lobos win. So I flipped on 610 to listen to postgame, and there were still 9 seconds on their broadcast, which took like another 5 minutes to complete. What the heck? It's from Dan. JJ?
It's called streaming a game off a computer. That's what we have to do. So
Look,
yes, there's a delay.
Here's the deal. I don't think this is a surprise to any of you. And many local broadcast teams are doing this. Many national broadcast teams are doing this. There's a global pandemic, and because of global pandemic, not every play-by-play announcer is sitting courtside or in the building, and a lot of them are doing it from home studio. You've seen plenty of UNM games, on whether it's on Fox or whether it's on CBS. Watch Lobo games where they take Zoom pictures of the analysts, the play-by-play guy, sitting in his living room calling a game or sitting in his home studio. And that's what JJ and Nikki are doing. They're doing it over a stream, and sometimes the stream coming out of Canyon, Texas, by the way, isn't all that great. So I give you, and Nikki and Robert and Hunter, for that matter, a ton of credit by calling a game. I've called a lot of games in my life, and it's hard to call basketball games. It's hard. It's fast. You're sitting there and you're looking around the building and you're getting responses and reactions and trying to paint a picture. You guys are watching a 3-camera shoot on a stream that's not all that reliable. So Dan, what the heck? That the heck. Does that make sense? Is that how you respond to that? That the heck.
That the heck.
That's what it is, man. I mean, to pull back the curtain a little bit, I don't think I'm giving away any great secrets here. What JJ and other broadcasters are being tasked with is very, very challenging. This isn't a woe is them conversation. This is just, I'm telling you the reality of it. And you take a very challenging job. Everybody thinks they can do play-by-play. Everybody thinks they can do play-by-play. It's freaking hard, man. It's an art, it's a skill, and then you throw in that obstacle, and I think you guys are killing it, man. And congratulations. But that the heck, Dan. That the heck. I mean, I don't know. Can I explain it any differently? Go ahead. I mean, if there's something to it.
You laid it all out. The challenges, what we're dealing with, and why you might get an alert beforehand.
Yeah. So that's the deal, man. I mean, I'm sure JJ would love to be in beautiful Canyon, Texas, away from his family and his son. By the way, it's a big weekend for the Buck clan. You enter the terrible twos on Sunday, don't you? Austin Buck turns 2.
Doesn't even wait till 2.
Oh yeah, he's a fast grower.
He's like, oh, I can open drawers now. I can open the fridge. Oh, you're telling me if I push this block over here, I can climb onto things. Oh, the little human being.
The little human being is going to be 2 years old on Sunday. Austin. But it was nice of him to do it on the week between the championship games and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we thought well ahead for his second birthday to make sure it's in between the Super Bowl and the conference championship games.
And you got to work Saturday, but not Sunday, which worked out perfectly. The birthday's on Sunday. You don't have work obligations. You don't have a Super Bowl to watch. I mean, goodness gracious. Thanks, kid. It all worked out. Look how you worked it out. Happy birthday to young Austin Buck. I'm going to try to get through the drive-by parade. I need to respond. The social media keeps telling me I have to respond to Tilly Buck.
Are you going to drive your car? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. So you could make sure you have enough cupcakes? I don't even know how to. I guess I kind of do. Drive by. All right, 505-246. We'll get into some football. You can respond all day if you want on Lobo basketball. LeBron and Lakers got shut down in Motown. Really? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
The pageantry.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Daniel stripped him. The Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, it's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again. He'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
The outside of running an out route. Davis and on the play action looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. Back to tossing. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Win. Lobos lose. What? Women win 82-80 over Fresno State. If you didn't stay up late last night, the Lobos lose to Fresno State on the men's side in overtime. 64-62, down by 4 with 38 seconds to go. A frantic comeback to force overtime. Up by 4 with a minute to go in overtime. A frantic, give me the word, JJ, because I hate saying collapse, but What? I mean,
you got to have an element of a collapse to have a comeback. Missed opportunities down the stretch in overtime for the Lobos. They were sloppy with the basketball, and it cost them.
Yeah. All right, Dan wants to know more. We just explained to Dan. He what the hecked us, and so we told him that the heck, how he knows the game's over, but he's still listening to you because he already got the alert on his phone. You should talk to your people over at UNM to stop sending out the alert until at least maybe their broadcast.
Radio broadcast is over.
What are we doing? So he says, so it takes 7 to 8 minutes for the video to get from beautiful Canyon, Texas to Juan Jose's place. Is it coming up via dial modem? P.S. Is Avery Johnson wondering what the bleep? Who did I piss off to get stuck calling almost every Lobo basketball game? Dude, I get the feeling listening to Avery Johnson on CBS Sports when he's calling these games, like he's mispronouncing names. He's looking down the sheet. You can hear him. He has no idea who they are. And he's going, well, they got lots of capable players like like Francis and he's like you can hear him reading down the page just to get another player. Avery Johnson was once a really good player and was a coach in the NBA, and now he's on the East Coast calling late night West Coast New Mexico Fresno State games that are 19-19 at halftime.
So you want to be a broadcaster.
I mean, that's your life. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. I like you're going charters, first class hotels, big money for the Brooklyn Nets. You're the head coach. You're a dog now, right? I mean, you're living, and now you're sitting in your wherever your home is in the Eastern Time Zone, staring at a monitor, watching New Mexico and Fresno State put up a 19-19 first half, just going, man, where's my bar?
Wish you had a spicy chicken slinger to brighten up your night.
So explain that to me, because I saw that. I saw you post that. Explain that to me.
Oh, they had a Sonic read in like the middle of the. I don't know if it was the first half or second half at this point in time, and I was like, well, that was the most exciting part of the game. They got happy about a chicken sandwich.
Oh, okay. I had no idea what that was. I saw you post. I'm like,
try the new spicy chicken slinger at Sonic, and Avery Johnson was like, man, I wish I could have one appear right now. Don't tell my wife.
Don't tell my wife I'm 5 deep into the.
Only 350 calories. Ow.
Oh, wow.
Mind blown. I'm sold. Let's go to Sonic.
On a spicy chicken slinger. All right. Can I have it without the bread? I'm just saying. Lobo volleyball should be better than this, says Harold. Jeff, 10th in the Mountain West. I noticed that Coach Tom Paul Glazer cleaned house in the offseason. Does he get a pass on the attrition? I don't think I've ever seen a squad that didn't have a lot of seniors prior season only returned 4 players. Harold, what are you angry at the preseason polls for? If they finish 10th, then get upset. You obviously care. What are you worried about preseason polls for?
Preseason polls. We're talking about preseason polls?
And we're not talking about games. We're not talking about standings. We're not talking about standings. We're talking about wins. We're talking about polls. Preseason polls
are evil.
Yeah, Harold, what are you upset about? First of all, at least you have a damn preseason poll, and you're in it. Because I don't know how many Harold emails I've got about Lobo volleyball that they weren't playing. So, Harold, this is what I told my mother yesterday. Man, you just got to change your perspective. This is going to help you with everything. So seriously, hear me out on this. Harold, at least you got a damn poll. So my mother's talking to Addie about cross-country season, and it looks like it's going to be a 5-week season for cross-country, high school. 3 meets, and if she makes varsity, she'll probably get up to 5, right, with district and state. And my mom's, well, that's not a long season. Why only 5 weeks? Why can't? I'm like, hey. Like, stop knocking the kid down, right? We're FaceTiming. This is positive. We went from nothing to 3 to 5 week season. Could we please just focus on then there was another conversation. Well, I don't know about steer. Like we all need the positive. Can we please just find a positive?
You need a FaceTime with Robert Portnoy right now, because I will get him on the phone.
That's right. He'll tell you about that. Coach, we're great defense, and the Lobos played yesterday. Right? Okay, find me the positive.
Sometimes you need it.
I just, after what we've been through as a society for the last 11 months, find me the positive. Lobos won a game a week ago. Lobos took a game. They had a great comeback last night.
Oh, be happy you have one. Because guess what,
bro?
It could be not having one. And nothing.
There could be a no-week season like there's been for the last bunch. You get to go out and train and be with your teammates, and you get to compete 3 to 5 times. It's a damn positive.
What is it? It's called grasping for a ray of hope.
Look, it's exactly right. You wrote that down, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I liked it
Grasp
so much.
and reach for a ray of hope. Grasp and reach for a ray of hope. I think it's a lyric. Look, man, just find it. You know, you're driving or you get the radio on in the morning, and you hear the national show, and he's like, Lance in New Mexico, and you're like, oh no, this is beautiful. And Lance goes on, and now he's got a name of Loopy Lance. Hello, Loopy Lance. Didn't I already hear you on my radio this morning? Loopy Lance from New Mexico. Good day, sir.
Oh, that's an imposter. Tell me the truth.
That wasn't an imposter. That was not an imposter.
On the sports animal is Lancer, the answer. How better a born name
You must
is
be
that?
proud.
For the
No, you must be
sports
very proud. You're right.
Okay.
You win with that.
And I really enjoyed Nikki Heathcross and that other guy that she had on doing the Lobo game. Just kidding, JJ. I really enjoyed your call on that game. It was exciting. And it's early. And then another 10:30 game. I mean, you know, I'm old. I like hearing this stuff. And they're winning and everything else. And I'm not going to say anything bad about that Lobo basketball team. Sometimes you just got to suck it up and have a bad year. But I really wanted to call about yesterday. I was on hold for over an hour when you wanted to hear from Bronco fan, you know, and about the quarterback situation. That's not their situation. I mean, they lost to everybody. It's just one of those years where everybody got hurt and just it was a mess. They ended up with one linebacker that started the season starting and one offensive lineman. You know, and you know all the running backs were struggling through, but they still found a way to compete. You know, and with even the guys they had fought hard. I didn't recognize one defensive back in the whole back. I'm like, who are these guys? So their best move isn't to go get another quarterback. I think Drew Lock's good. I mean, he brought him back that one time from like 21 points down in the fourth quarter, and he gets fired up. The crowd gets fired up. The crowd likes him. The people like him in Denver. That's the main thing. Do you fit in your situation? And he does. They like him there. I mean, you guys don't know that. I know people in Denver. And it's not his fault all that happened. Everybody wants to blame the quarterback, especially JJ. You've done that a lot over the years, my friend.
Have you seen the quarterback play the Broncos?
What's that?
Have you seen who's the quarterback for Denver after Peyton Manning?
I don't know what you just said.
It's been bad quarterback play since Peyton Manning left.
Well, it's a whole scheme of things because Peyton Manning was really the coach. You know what I mean? He was the coach for the football team. And so, you know, it's not just about a quarterback. It's about the whole team in the scheme of things. You need more linebackers, just some defensive backs, and trade somehow with that. Don't use your money and your capital space just to go chase one quarterback, and you're back to where that quarterback was at Houston, getting sacked every game because you have no offensive line and getting wasted the whole game. So I disagreed with that yesterday. Now you guys teamed up on that. There's no reason to go get another quarterback. You need to solidify your team. Give that guy a chance because he showed he could win. And, he lost all kinds of – Cortland Sutton was gone. When they had it rolling, they were playing good football, you know. And when they lost him, then all of a sudden everybody starts going down. They're playing harder than they have to because this guy got hurt, that guy got hurt, and they're putting themselves in bad situations to where they got hurt.
Got it.
So
Bad
I don't
situation,
think you
never.
change the quarterback spot. I just think you go shop for some backup,
Linebackers.
some backup people, the core of the team.
All right, Lance, enjoy the weekend. And I'm down with a dissenting opinion. If you can upgrade at quarterback, and especially with the quarterback about whom we were speaking, Deshaun Watson, which evidently half the league has now inquired about Deshaun Watson. If you can upgrade to a guy like Deshaun Watson over Drew Lock, did you see flashes with Drew Lock? Oh, maybe. You thought Drew Lock was I don't think he's the answer. And if you can get Deshaun Watson, I'm making that trade every day, including Sunday.
Yeah, it's irresponsible not to look into the quarterbacks available if you're one of 26, 27 teams right now that would gladly move on from whoever you have at starting quarterback. I think ultimately Denver doesn't make a move at that position because I think it's going to be really hard to get Deshaun Watson out of Houston, and I'm not sold that we see him move. Like all this news right now, even Deshaun Watson requesting a trade, there is a great chance that the only quarterback that moves and makes a big impact is Matthew Stafford. When we sit here and start next season with Carson Wentz being in Philadelphia, Deshaun Watson, whether he's playing or not, remaining in Houston, but it would be bad business to not look at that quarterback when he has told the world he's ready to move, so you start making some calls.
I think he's moving. I think Deshaun Watson's moving. I think there's going to be enough wow offers on the table. I think teams are going to go throw so much because it's him. You're the Jets and you want to throw me a couple of firsts. The Dolphins, a couple of firsts and a player, a couple of firsts and Tua and a couple of seconds. I just think at some point you start listening to it. How do I make my whole football team better? I can get Tua and first round picks and young players and this guy didn't want to be here. Like I think I see where you're coming from and I'm listening, but I think he's moving. I do.
And Tua, it's at the point where Deshaun Watson, I know that so many people want to bring up, well, why would you just leave here and go to another team that might not be great? Well, you know why? Because he's done with Houston. He
That's
had
right.
a
Sometimes
falling
you're just
out
done.
with the owner of the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
And so he's at the point where, hey, if I go to another team, we might have to rebuild a little bit. So be it. He doesn't like who owns that football team.
Because we're rebuilding here, and I'm done. 505-246-0610. Appreciate Loopy Lance. Loopy Lance from New Mexico. That's what they called him on the DA show. Loopy Lance from New Mexico. That's what he called him this morning. And he graced us here on the little local show with a national caller like that, which I'm very grateful. For which I'm very grateful. Looking forward to Ho on a Friday. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
Touchdown!
With Allstate, you
Right there. I know he's got the win at his back, but
let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
without replay,
I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
They'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Siembieda now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up. Man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Siembieda. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Oh, let's get a little closer. Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside. Fly. Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped. Stolen Watson. Kristen Lucero beats the buzzer.
Work Studios yesterday. Saw Alden, saw J-Pole. Didn't see Josh. Good to see the boy live and in person, JJ, when we see them every day here on our screen. As they're doing a great job putting the show on the air. You can watch the show on the Facebook, The OD in the AM, or go to the YouTube page. And, of course, every day on Comcast Channel 26 at 3 o'clock, our show airs, re-airs live. But it was good to be. I was down at downtown, JJ. Saw the boys live and all masked up, socially, way away. I didn't even...
Yeah, you can lock them in that little production room. They can see out of the glass at least, so they don't feel too...
Yeah. I threw him a couple scraps. I threw him a Sonic spicy... What is it called?
Spicy chicken slinger.
Yeah. I slung him a slinger, and everything was good.
Your local Sonic.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even do that. 505-246-0610. Tommy the Truth. Triple T, what's good on a Friday? How you living?
Pretty good. I just got through listening to Lance Mountain talk about the Broncos, and I used to talk with him as well. When they had the Sauce and Shram show, they used to put our comments on the TV set. The problem with the Broncos is this. Am I not correct in saying they've had pretty good defenses the last few years as far as their rankings, correct?
Relatively good.
Bad.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem is inconsistent quarterback play. Are you going to wait for Drew Lock to develop so he gets more consistent, or are you going to win right now and go out and get a Stafford or go out and get the guy from Houston, one of those guys, to win right now while your defense is halfway decent? And they did lose their linebacker last year, number one dude. That was a bad omen. But you look at all the quarterbacks, Simeon bust, Lynch bust. Thank you for getting Paxton Lynch because the Cowboys was going to pick him. And he was gone. Thank you, Denver. And so we got Dak. Again, thank you, Denver. And then you look at Peyton Manning was already good. We already knew that. But then he gets destroyed by Seattle. Then the next time he gets in, the defense carries him to a Super Bowl, has some good plays in the playoff. And he's lucky that, Cam made a terrible business decision to not fall on that fumble or try to. So to me, the defense is pretty good. They've got a pretty good defense right now, and you don't want to waste that. I think they should go out and get somebody right now, unless you're going to wait to develop Drew Lock a little bit more and see if he comes around to being more consistent. And if you believe in that, then you don't. But if I have a chance to go get some of those guys, I think Stafford's talents have been wasted in Detroit. Terrible organization. I think he needs a change, and I still think he's got some good years left in him. It's up to Denver. Do they want to win now? Do you want to wait to see if this guy develops into more consistency and putting the ball in the end zone and scoring touchdowns? But I think their defense has been pretty good. Rankings the last few years, they just can't put enough points on the board. That's my opinion. I want to see what you guys think about that.
No, we're on the same page, Tommy. Thanks for the truth. I mean, I think you feel the same way as a Bronco fan, don't you? If you can get one of those two guys and upgrade, how do you not?
You have to look at it. It's bad business if you're a team and not considering all the options at the quarterback position. I will say Drew Lock is the most potential of any quarterback since Peyton Manning, Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian. They tried to get by Vetchenier with Case Keenum. That didn't work out. So I guess that's all you can say is, yeah, there's potential. As Tommy said, can he develop into something? Last year was supposed to be that year. Unfortunately, he was injured and then started dropping like flies on both sides of the football second half of the season. So you still don't know, and that's why you're in a situation asking, can he be the guy? Because you haven't even seen that. And I know I brought it up earlier this year, and initially, Jeff, you were like, why would you even want that? Like, Drew Lock's Baker Mayfield. He's that type of quarterback. He's not going to be the guy that wows you. But if things are in place, and I believe you can have a competitive football team, but are you willing to run it back one more time with the hope that you hit that ceiling?
I mean, if you got no choice. But if you're telling me I've got a shot at Matthew Stafford or I got a shot at Deshaun Watson, yeah, I'm taking that shot. And if it upsets Drew Lock, so be it. And if he hears about it and he gets his feelings hurt, you know what? So be it. Those guys are better than you are. And I got a chance to win now. And if not, you come back and you run it back. What's your option after that? But to me, and you're on the same page. You explore your options. If I can make my team better, that's my job, isn't it?
So see,
Don,
that position.
Yeah, Don. Good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, Don.
Good morning, Jeff. How you guys doing? Hey, JJ, how's it going?
Life's grooving.
Hey, good. Hey, talking about being a Bronco fan, I've been a Bronco fan since I was a little guy, and I hearing all the talk about inconsistent quarterback play, and there's a lot of truth in that. We were, since Peyton Manning, I even think Peyton Manning's last year there in Denver when they won the Super Bowl, I think he was carried across the finish line. That defense carried him across, and he didn't play all that well that last year. So, and then they went on and moved on, went Siemian and Lynch and Osweiler. The big part of the problem when you get inconsistent quarterback play is you've got to have people to surround him. Now, there's very few quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that can go from team to team and instantly have the LeBron James effect on a football team because the numbers are just so much higher. I mean, you take a Joe Montana, take a Patrick Mahomes, you take a Tom Brady. Those guys can instantly improve a team when they move to that team. Now, of course, it's going to take the pieces. Mahomes has pieces. Brady has pieces now. Montana had pieces when he went to KC. But Drew Lock, now correct me if I'm wrong, he's been in the league for 2 years, but I don't even think he's played 16 games yet, has he?
JJ, I don't know. Has he played?
He just crossed that threshold last year.
Yeah, last year I think his last game was his 16th game, and JJ won't remember this, I don't think. But Jeff, if you go back to John Elway's rookie year, that thing was a disaster. And then John Elway turns out to be one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game.
Don.
Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
John Elway, to me, and I'd love to sit here and eat my words in 4 years from now. John Elway was a different breed than Drew Lock.
Oh, most definitely. But my point is that, well, and now I've lost my train of thought. But, Drew Lock is going to need a chance, I think. Now, as a Denver fan, if I can't get Deshaun Watson, who I'm not totally sold on yet, or Matt Stafford, who I'm not totally sold on, then I don't do anything. I don't think there's another quarterback out there right now that has the potential, that could lead the Broncos back, to glory land, so to speak. But, he's got the tools there. They're awful young. Their defense is pretty decent. I think you give Drew Lock another year or two, and I'm kind of agreeing with Lance here, but I think you give him a chance, and I think he's got the skills, and I think he's got the potential.
All right.
Thanks for letting me voice my opinion, guys. Have a great day.
That's good, and thank you, Don. I'm down hearing that, and it's good to hear that from a Bronco fan. Like I said, if I got a chance to go get one of those other two, I'm doing it. And then if I got to run it back with Drew Lock, okay, I'll run it back with Drew Lock. Let's give it another year. But
when you get to the point at the end of the season, right, is we'll spend the whole year talking about bad quarterback play and these fans like, oh man, I wish we could get a better quarterback, this or that, and then the opportunity comes around, and fans are like, hold up, we're gonna have to pay what? You don't have to pay anything. Like, do you want a good player or not on your football team? Like, we get so enamored with draft picks. Like, do you want players or just the chance to roll the dice? And this is a different level when we're talking about Deshaun Watson being on the market.
Wow.
Now, Stafford, can he be Phillip Rivers? Come in, like, is Denver good enough?
Better than Phillip Rivers.
Comes in. Yeah, he's better than Phillip Rivers, but it's that same concept. It's guy comes into an established team, gets you to the postseason.
But I think the difference is you knew Phillip Rivers was a one-shot deal. Stafford's like 33. You can do Stafford for 4 years, right? And 4 years in the NFL is a freaking eternity, right? It's an era. It really is, right? So there's the difference. This whole, John Elway had a bad first year. Look, John Elway was one of those few guys coming out of college that you knew was going to hit, right? That's a totally different story from John Elway to Drew Lock. If you said this right, and this has been my theory forever, and I'm glad you got to this point. Get over the draft picks thing. If you could get a guy, you're rolling the dice with a draft pick, right? I don't care if it's 2 or if it's 22. You're rolling the dice with a guy coming out of college. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. Who better in this draft? Give me one guy, and I don't think it's Trevor Lawrence. Who's better in this draft than Deshaun Watson? 25 years old, proven. You know what you're getting at the NFL level with Deshaun Watson. To me, there's no risk. Now, it's going to cost you a number of draft picks, but whatever I'm getting in this year's draft isn't as good as that guy. I'll worry about next year. We'll rebuild with draft picks. But at the most important position in sports, if I can get a guy that dynamic, who I think we all believe is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL and is probably going to be that way for a decade, you don't make that move? Or at least you don't inquire? All right, Drew Lock may or may not pan out. My feeling is not. But okay, if you guys believe yes, I'm willing to watch. But if I can get that guy or Matthew Stafford, fine, for 4 years, I'm willing to take that chance.
And if you think that you can't build a football team and say, all right, we don't have a first-round pick for the next 3 years. All right, well, do you have a second-round pick? Do you have a third-round pick? Do you know how to scout, how to develop when you potentially hit a home run at the best position or the most influential position, quarterback play? Because how many good teams are we looking at right now? Yes, good teams that are sitting there going, I don't know. There's a lot right now in the NFC West. There's 2 of them, San Francisco and LA, that are like, you know what, we've been pretty good. I'm not sure about this guy at quarterback. So I'm right there with you. It's when people freak out about like NBA trades. Like, what? How many first-round picks did you give up? Well, what does it matter? Because guess what? Now you have KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. You're probably going to win a lot of basketball games in the next few years.
Yeah. All right. 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. Come on in on this Friday. Love to hear your thoughts. Gentlemen, hope the new year's off to a great start. So how you feeling? Hopefully you are feeling fantastic. But if you're not, if you're feeling sluggish, dealing with fatigue, low energy, low T, or even erectile dysfunction, you can take care of it. You can call New Mail and you can feel like yourself again. New Mail is the leader in men's health. They are here in Albuquerque, and they've helped thousands of men all over the country feel better. What's more important than your health, especially in these times? The answer is nothing. Taking care of you, feeling well, is a priority. It's possible with New Mail. Call New Mail at 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit them at newmail.com. The whole process is comfortable. The results are absolutely real. From the phone call to your first visit all the way through the treatment, Numel will be with you. They'll help you take care of low energy, even hair loss or erectile dysfunction. Their testosterone replacement utilizes cutting-edge technology. They're out front when it comes to men's health. Call them. 505-652-1688. Guys, time to take care of yourself. Make the call. Visit Numel.com or call 505-652-1688 and feel better.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside. Fly. Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped. Stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we can see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Played over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really...
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead of Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big pardon. Watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! He scored!
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did!
Oh my God! Banks it in from 25 feet and watch the
Oh, yeah. Put on your master hoe.
Give me a hoe.
Give me a hoe if you got your funky bus fare.
And you guys sound like a bunch of dead animals laying somewhere. Oh, help me, help me. Oh, moaning. Happy Friday, y'all. Yeah, damn. It's the opening drive at 95.9 FM at AM 670 Sports Animal. Happy Friday to you. Art, sorry you had to listen to that. But thanks for calling. Art, you're on the opening drive. Good Friday to you.
That's all right. Ain't no biggie. Yeah, I just had, sorry. I just want to come on last night's Helter Skelter game with the men.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say it, Jeff, but I think, you know, sometimes when you're in a marriage, it's really good. There's other times you fight to keep it going because you know there's potential. And to be honest, in spite of the situation this year, I think, this is just my opinion, but even if we didn't have COVID-19 upon us,
yeah,
I truly believe that there's no way that this team would have gelled. And I think a lot of it has to do with not just the head guy, but all the mentors, the coaches that should be coaching these guys. McCullough Watch, he's good for him as far as just a piece to have there. But he can't carry this team, and these guys just don't know how to play basketball. And I think maybe Ware needs to step down and go to Division II coaching. I'll just listen on the radio, brother. You guys have a great Friday.
All right, Art, be well. JJ, it gets down to the conversation that maybe they're just not very good. I think Malawach is a good player. I don't know that he's a guy at the Mountain West level that can carry a team. Are the rest of them good, or the rest of them good coaches? And it's kind of up to Eddie now to figure that out, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we've seen it. You know, Malawach is a good basketball player. He's not a win a game by yourself basketball player. He got darn close last night at times, at least in the second half, stepping up, hitting some of those shots. And that's just, I'm glad we're seeing the efficient Malawach, because you know he can be a more efficient basketball player, and he definitely was trying to do too much at times to just grab this entire team and say, let me do it offensively, and that's just not his game. He's got to be hitting those mid-range shots, and then that gives him the energy to impact the game on both ends of the floor. And we're seeing the best out of McQuatch Malawach, and it's still, fortunately, not enough for this basketball team.
Yeah, and that's where they were last night. If you didn't stay up late last night, you're just joining us. Lobos lost in overtime last night, 64-62. Had a 4-point lead with a minute to go in overtime. Fresno State scored the last 6 points. It was 19-19 at halftime, and it was ugly. Fresno State did not have a 2-point bucket. Lobos didn't get had one 3-point bucket all night long. That was from Jeremiah Francis. They were down by 4 with 38 seconds to go in regulation. Was New Mexico. Went to pressure defense, forced a couple turnovers, converted those into scores. I actually closed the first half as an impressive, I don't know, JJ, I hate breaking it down in 38-second increments, but I mean, honestly, that last run at the end of the half was as impressive as they looked all year. Is that fair? I mean, it's a 38-second sample.
That 8-0 run they went on when they hit some shots combined with playing good defense. You're like, okay, look at this. This is some basketball that's being played, even in the 19-19 half. That was a good spurt, but it's where we are with Lobo men right now. It's good job, good effort territory. What are you doing in the segments of an individual game? And they defended for 45 minutes last night well enough to win. It goes back to the offensive execution when it mattered the most. Played bad basketball.
And there's a lot of people who feel like Art do, and we've been hearing them more, that they're not very good, and the coach, he said Paul should step down. I don't know if Paul's going to step down. I don't know that any of us would just walk away from that. I can't sit here and tell you with certainty I think Paul is or is not going to be back next year. You're 1-10. You're really struggling. So what does that mean overall? And there's a lot of factors. So I hear calls like that. I hear people tell me that all the time. How much do you put into the nomad thing? And then people point to the women. Well, Jeff, the women are going through the same thing, and they're right. And the women are 7-1, 4-1, right? So why are they doing it? Well, they got better players. Okay, but why? So the truth has got to lie somewhere in between. How much of a pass are you giving Lobo basketball? And it sounds like many of you are not, for the anomaly, the extreme uncertainty, the extraordinary circumstances in which they're existing this year. Take into consideration buyouts and economy and everything else. But by the same token, JJ, with 2 years left, and if you don't extend the guy, how's he supposed to go out and recruit?
Yeah, it's a very challenging situation, and one that I don't think college athletics was ever prepared for. Is being in this situation where you have coaches that are saying, well, you let me go, you pay me the rest of my money, all right, it's a contract, but then also you don't extend me, I can't recruit. And then so how are you supposed to make a decision that works for your university, because you're eating money all over the place no matter what, which way you go down that lane. And now coaches aren't going to step down, because that means they're giving up money, and especially in season. Like if it's a conversation after the year, what do we hear? You mutually agree to part ways. But in season, nothing's going to happen outside of a university making a decision if something goes very, very terribly wrong to move on from a coach. But because I also wouldn't want to see that. I think that would just be a bad look for any coach to just say, oh, we're 1-10, and by the way, I'm going to walk away from this.
Yeah. I mean,
because then everyone was like, really, what? Like, this is, you're just going to walk away now? So it's nothing like that's going to happen in season.
Yeah. All right, keep them coming. I got emails for you as well. You can get in at 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Ladies were winners last night. Lobo men get beat. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Paul. Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi, Crawford. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's gonna go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos Pump fake. Everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back. Alley-oop. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Here's Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a.
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the.
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a.
Hill, little step, high window, and a.
Got the second.
To the middle.
Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. To shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang.
Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Or driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition.
All right, Loopy Lance from Albuquerque. Bad Street says Loopy is the answer, just doesn't have the same ring, Jeff. I think what he spent 7 to 8 minutes trying to say is the Broncos are more than one quarterback away from the championship belt. Maybe the one who comes on and complains that everybody else rambles too long, and then he just goes on those tangents.
Rambling.
I love Lance, and you know, I know Lance calls in. You guys hate me. No, I love Lance. I love him. I heard him on the national show this morning. Got a lot of radio. He got more radio time in than you and I this morning already, JJ. He should probably get paid more.
Repping big time on the national stage.
Loopy Lance from Albuquerque is what DA called him.
Sports animals big time now.
I know. Hello, Fred. How you living on a beautiful Friday? Good morning, Fred.
Oh, I would have lived better if the Lobos could have won that. The men would have won their game, but I wanted to talk about the women first and a tiny bit about the men. But, you know, that women's game, oh, my gosh, what a fast-paced, unbelievable game. The Lady Lobos, it was incredible. They had one thing that no one's mentioned is they had 24 assists. Yeah, I don't even know if I've ever seen, when you look at a box score and they have, I think it's 8 girls that played, that every girl had at least 2 assists. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that, where every girl that played in the game had 2 assists or more. and to give you an idea, the men had 4 assists, but another thing too is the turnovers. They had 16 turnovers. We only had 7 turnovers in that fast-paced game. It was incredible. And here the Cavendish sisters, who are studs, they really are good. And the Gomez girl and the UT girl, they're all really good. But the Cavendish sisters had 4 turnovers each, and Gomez 5 turnovers. And the Cavendish sisters we were very physical, and they were on the ground like I don't know how many times. And I was just real proud of the Lady Lobos because, they shot really pretty good when you think about it. They were only 6 for 30 shooting threes, but they were 45% overall. And so that's pretty darn good. That shows you about the assist, a lot of the shots. And the one thing I liked is the way they played Anderson down low kind of, but in the middle where she's about 6 or 8 feet, and she just kept popping those 2-pointers in right and left. And they just passed the ball well. They played well. They had a lot of steals. They had 10 steals. They just played a really great game. They really did, and it was a fun game to watch, except the problems we were having. Like, it was kind of funny when Nikki and JJ had to look at what do you call it? Whatever it is to do the game because it wasn't on
the stream.
It wasn't streamed. But anyway, I was real proud of Lady Lobos, and you're talking about the Lady Lobos. We have four starters back from last year. I mean, let me give you a difference between the girls and the boys. We have 4 starters back, and then we also have 2 girls, Carter and Watts, that don't play a lot, but they give you enough to give you something. They were on the team last year too, so 6 or 7 girls, they were all back last year. It's not like the men, so just wanted to say that too. And then, but as far as the men, God, they play hard. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but they really did play hard, and that's all I can ask for right now because they're terrible shooters. We can't shoot the ball. We can't shoot free throws. We can't do a lot, but darn, they play hard, and to be able to come back at the very end and put it in the overtime, and it's just a shame that Francis kind of passed a bad pass to Malach where he couldn't really get a shot off right. It was just kind of sad that way, but anyway, at least we have the women that are in first place now too. They're now in first place ahead of Colorado State, and they only have 1 loss. And I can't wait till 11 o'clock on Saturday to watch them play again. So
beautiful.
That's all, guys.
No,
good job.
Good. Thanks.
See ya.
It's a hell of a breakdown, JJ. I don't know if you could have done it any better. You called the game.
Might just play that back on Saturday morning.
2 minutes.
Save me a
Here's your pregame.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
All right. Well, that was actually pretty good. I got one on the Fresh Phillies. This is from James. He's talking about the ladies teams. Jeff, you asked why the Lady Lobos have been able to do it. Remember, Lady Lobos usually start strong, but by late January they're running out of gas, which is right. Last year, after going to France over the summer, by the time they got to conference play, they had tired legs and hit the wall. I think limited practice has actually benefited them, and so has only playing about 1/3 of the games that the men have played. You think there's something to it that they haven't played as much because of COVID, and they had the series canceled last week because San Jose State has shut down their program. They lost a series to COVID. Do you think being fresh is helping them?
Well, when you're winning, it's something that you can spin. Because if they were losing these games,
Right.
then it would be they don't get a chance to practice. It's what we're seeing with the men. So
1 minute.
it's just a different way to spin it. I think ultimately you want to be playing more games and practicing more because even that Utah State series, by the way, that was postponed because of unfortunately COVID issues with UNM. That's a week they lost of nothing. It's one thing to be fresh. It's also another week to not do anything basketball related and then have to catch back up.
Are they making that up? And they're going to be like 4 games in 1 week coming up?
They might have a busy stretch.
Yeah.
Here very soon.
So that'll test your theory, James. All right, we'll get back to your phones. If you're there, stay. If you want to get in, here's a time for you. 505-246-0610. NFL, Lobo men and women. Whatever you want, we are here for you. On the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, playing it!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, they're going to score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul. Right here by Lewis all the way. Coast to coast. And finish. What a...
Around the screen against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the 2-in hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance. And it's put up. And it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes!
Last night in Fresno, if you didn't stay up, exciting end. Come back from 4 down with 38 seconds to go in regulation, force overtime. Great defense. I hate using the word great, but I think they made it. All right, it wasn't great. It was really good defense and clutch shots. And then had a 4-point lead with a minute left in overtime and lost. As Fresno State scored the last 6, 64-62. Lobo women win. Shea Magruder with a layup off a set piece, JJ. Can I say set piece in basketball? Off a set piece.
Set piece.
I know you would. 82-80, they win. A big win for them. Elsewhere at Mountain West men's action last night, Wyoming got pounded at Viejas. Aztecs ran them out of the building. Aztecs' last 3 games, I think they've been up by 40, JJ, in each game. The 2 against Air Force and then the one against Wyoming. 87-57. I get it. They're better than these teams. But offensively, at times, it's as good as I've seen San Diego State look.
He's a large number to do it multiple times, regardless of who you're playing.
Yeah. So big win for them. And then San Jose State got their second league win, second in a row. They win in Arizona. They beat Air Force 59-58. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Happy Friday to you. Glad you're with us on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. Of course, you can watch the show every day on our Facebook page, the OD in the AM, or go to ProViewNetworks.com. J-Pole and Alden are pilot and co-pilot. That's what it kind of looks like is in your little studio cam. Like one's pilot, isn't it? Like one's piloting, one's co-piloting. Now they're both taking a nap and it's on autopilot, and they're getting us home on a Friday. 505-246-0610. Edward, good morning. You are on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
It's a delightful day, my friends, as we close out the first month of the year, or succinctly 8% of our year, roughly 8.8%. Speaking of autopilot, I thoroughly enjoyed Fred's such a nice guy, and a huge Boston Red Sox fan, so I have a soft spot in my heart for him. His forensic, intricate breakdown of Lobos men and women's basketball, for autopilot, JJ, just have him record himself for like 5 or 10 minutes, hit record, and just press play in the post-game show, because that was a pretty forensic breakdown of all things Lobo women basketball, and men for that matter. I'm impressed. Put that kind of passion into that kind of stuff.
That's good.
Hey, I listened intently to the Eric Bieniemy, how he didn't get an opportunity. But maybe there's some credence to, he should be grateful he didn't take any of those jobs, quite honestly. I sent you guys a text last week where I think it was like 24, 25 of the NFL jobs have come open in the past 4 or 5 years. And there's actually been more than those hires because some teams have hired more than one coach in that time span. We're in a situation where probably 25% of the jobs open up every year. There's 32 teams, and there could be 7, 8, 9 openings on any given year. If you're Bieniemy, do you want to get hired into that dumpster fire that's the Detroit Lions with Dan Campbell? Which, by the way, further regression and they hired Mark Brunell as a coach. I just don't get it, man. I honestly think they may go 0-16 twice in the next 5 years. Do you want to be part of the Jets?
Well, tell me why Mark Brunell is going to be a bad coach. I'm not sure I understand the obvious joke there. Why is Mark Brunell going to obviously be a bad coach?
Well, he's a succinct decision maker. He lost like $50 to $70 million in bad investments, which I know doesn't correlate to the football field. I understand that. But if you're dysfunctional in one capacity of your life in decision making, it's going to bleed over into other aspects.
But there's a reason Mark Brunell lasted forever in the NFL as that veteran clipboard holder backup. I mean, there's got to be something as a football guy, as a guy in the room, as a guy that works with young quarterbacks. There's got to be something to Mark Brunell because he lasted forever in that league.
Agreed. Yeah, and I'm a fan of Mark Brunell, right? I thought he was great with the Jaguars for about 5 years. Or do you want to be part of the Jets, right, which I know Saleh is a pretty popular hire, which I hope he does well. And who knows what's going to happen with, their quarterback situation. you want to take the Texans job, who just, you know what happened with the Texans? The same thing that happened with Lobo basketball when they hired their current coach. They probably reached out to 5 to 7 different people, and they all said no. And they're like, "Hey, well, do you want the job?"
Right.
So they hire this guy who's never even been an assistant in the NFL, right? At 60 some years old, which nothing wrong with that. Hopefully he comes in and gets some good things going there. The point is, I think Bieniemy may have said, maybe it's a blessing that he didn't take any of these jobs. The Philadelphia Eagles organization, which, after celebrating and telling us how football originated in the city of Philly and put up statues, they're a dumpster fire the last 3 or 4 years. Anyway, I just thought about Bieniemy there. Hey, the Cowboys, and I know it's passionate for this fan base here in Albuquerque. Whether they want to admit it or not, they're in a full rebuild. They really are. They should make a push for Aaron Rodgers, whether or not he becomes available. They should make a push for the Texans quarterback. They should make a push for Matt Stafford. Not that those guys are exceedingly better than Dak Prescott, right? But some of them are on contract-friendly, friendly contracts, which can be restructured. And their offensive line, which has been their staple the past decade, is in shambles. Their defensive talent and scheme is probably in the bottom third of the league. They have some good receivers, one of which is significantly overpaid. They have an overpaid running back. They're in a full rebuild. You have to scrap the whole game plan and start over, and maybe just bringing in an infusion of new blood might be the way to go. Those are just a few thoughts as we venture into the weekend, since there's no football this weekend. But I enjoy your show. It's so entertaining. Did the national guys come on and say "Goofy," Lance? Is that his moniker now?
Loopy.
And by the way, Lance, I know you're listening. Those are their words, not mine. So it doesn't warrant 1 month of attacking me relentlessly. I love you and you're my guy. But that's Loopy Lance. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Man. Hey, enjoy the weekend, guys. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. It's so entertaining, and I appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend.
Right. So I'll be enemy. Look, we had this conversation, and in whatever reason, his point on is it better? Is he better off not getting one of these jobs? Let's be very clear on NFL hires. Okay, it is incredibly rare that a good situation opens. Whatever that means.
That's where Edward lost me in that whole conversation.
Yeah.
Like, where are all these good football teams and great organizations that are out there hiring head coaches right now?
In the NFL, now it happens in college, okay? College it happens because sometimes coaches leave because of success. The UCF job is open. It's a nice job right now in college football. That happens. Right? Typically, we have the conversation, why is the job open? Well, either the coach succeeded and climbed, or it didn't work and he got fired and you got a cleanup job. In the NFL, there is no what's higher. You don't see guys going, from the Jaguars to the Chiefs or whatever. Like all of these jobs are tough. All 8 of them were hard. From Houston to Atlanta, to the best one was the Chargers, and that's not an easy situation. To the Jets, to the Jaguars, to the Lions, they're all hard. So there is no place where you're going in unless you were Andy Reid. But even that situation, he had to go in and do something. Like, unless there's a retirement. But what are these guys? Why are these guys leaving? They're making tens of millions of dollars. Who the hell's stepping away from that, especially when they're successful? Every coach is at some point going to get fired. How many head coaches leave on their own accord in professional sports? Ever. How many coaches ever leave on their own accord? When you become a head coach of a professional franchise, 90%, 95% of you are getting fired. You're leaving because it's just not, your time's up, right? Give me a coach that left on their own accord when they were successful. I'm listening. Bill Cowher?
Yeah. It's
okay.
That
you got another one?
Probably very small.
It doesn't happen. And so he lost me on that one too. Like Eric Bieniemy, when he gets his job, and I do believe he'll get one, it's not going to be in some plush situation. But by the way, Urban Meyer just didn't take a plush situation, nor did any of these guys. They all have reclamation projects. That's why those jobs were open. There is no climbing up in the NFL. You are up. You're on the top rung. And what's the next stop? When you hit the top, what's the next stop, JJ? Oh, bleep, it's down. I mean, honestly, when you get to the top, the next step is
the bottom.
Yeah, it's, you know, it doesn't have to go all the way down, but it's down a rung, right? So, look, should he be happy? I don't know. I appreciate, as we had this conversation earlier about perspective, like, I appreciate you finding the bright side for Eric Bieniemy. I do. Well, he's going to stay with as offensive coordinator of the best team in the league. Okay, that is a good situation. That absolutely is a first world problem, right? But stop with the, well, I mean, he'll find the right situation. What? Tell me the last head coach who cruised into a sweet gig. Sean McVay didn't. Urban Meyer didn't. None of these guys do.
And as a coach, as a player, is you want to figure out what you're best at. Like, you don't want to be an OC and never have an opportunity to be a head coach. Like, you want to be the Norv Turner, right? You want to at least have a chance, go, all right, coach a team. Maybe it's not working. I'll go back to what really works for me, and that's being a coordinator. But you want to have that experience, and most of these guys, that is ultimately their goal. When you rise to a certain level, is get a chance to take over a football team and implement your entire plan. And if it doesn't work out, then you can go back to, all right, maybe this is the best life for me, being a member of a staff.
That's all. And by the way, it's not a bad life. It's a pretty good life. You're making a pretty good living. You're doing what you love. And there's nothing wrong with being a really good coordinator. And there's a lot of those guys throughout the history of this game. And we hear the names Spagnuolo and Turner, and I mean, go down the list all the time. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a really good coordinator. And you're right. They want a head coaching job and see. But there's so few good situations. It just doesn't happen. 505-246-0610. Keep them coming. We'll get into more Lobo basketball. I got more opinion from you. You can get in on the coaching job. Eric Bieniemy's a fascinating conversation. It really is. I would have absolutely bet that he would be a head coach by now, or at least by the time this coaching carousel ended. His name was up for every job, JJ. Why? I mean, look, it's not only because he's an African-American man, right? Houston hired an African-American coach. It just wasn't that one. Well, what about the other ones? Well, those guys, I'm sure, are qualified. There's a lot more conversation to have on this than simply the race. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. did a good job with it. First and goal. It's Chavez to the middle. And Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24, Rancho, late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine!
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Reply to crushed, says Omar. Edward just called in and said Eric Bieniemy might be lucky he didn't get a head coaching job because none of these positions are good ones. And I'm asking you the question, who walks into a good situation in the NFL? NFL jobs are open not because guys say, this was so good, I'm going to walk away and leave it good. No. They're open because usually it's a mess. Teams are rebuilding. It's not working. Coaches get fired. How many coaches walk away on their own accord at the NFL level?
Not many. And the only place you really walk into a good situation usually is in the NBA.
Sometimes, and that's if you're an established. Well, Steve Nash is an established coach. That's all right, fair enough. An established name. How about that? I mean, how many of these guys? And I can't even tell you how many coaches Atlanta has had, or Detroit has had, or Orlando has had, and who these guys are, or Sacramento, like those, and they stay bad situations, right? Minnesota. So, yeah, every once in a while you got a stacked team and you need an established leader to walk into that. Fair enough. But the NFL level, man, I'll give you one. I got an email on it, but not this one. Omar says, Jeff, does Coach Jones have to back the Brinks truck up to Aaron Rodgers' house and offer everything inside to bring him to Texas Stadium for a season or two? Does Aaron at least listen if Jerry promises to shore up the depth of the offensive line? We already have the deepest, most talented offense at the skill position in maybe NFL history. What would make Dallas Cowboys immediate favorites to win the NFC? Why would Aaron Rodgers think that the Dallas Cowboys situation is better than the one in which he's currently?
And by the way, he's not a free agent, so it doesn't matter.
That's right. It's a trade.
And another thing to Edward, because he didn't let us counter any of his points today. The whole Dallas needs to rebuild, so go out there and use more assets to get Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers. That doesn't make sense. You're saying, well, they're not a good enough franchise, and then they need to start adding in other areas. Well, then what are you giving up to acquire?
Right, what assets? Yeah, what are your assets that you're using? Don is in on coaching jobs. He says, and this is there's always one, right? I said, give me one, and there's always one or two. He said the last coach to slide into a great situation was John Gruden when he went to Tampa. He benefited greatly from Tony's build. Okay. Yeah. But didn't they trade for him?
They did.
Wasn't that like they traded? They gave up. Yeah, they traded for him. He says Eric Bieniemy's a great assistant offensive coordinator. But look at his offense. My goodness, Edward and Lance could win with that offense. And once Bieniemy gets a head coaching job, Edward's opinion may change. Craziness. It's Don. So this is where I was asking you yesterday. How much of that offense is because Eric and I don't know the answer, okay? So this isn't one where it's hypothetical that we all, it's obvious. Because I don't know. He's the offensive coordinator of the best offense going, right? He's got the most versatile, talented quarterback in the league. Is that arguable?
No.
Okay. He's got a stable of receivers, from the fastest guy in the league in Tyreek Hill to Hardeman to the best tight end in the league in Kelsey. Is that arguable? Okay.
You're right.
And he's got 3 running backs that they rotate through there. They've also got Andy Reid, who is always been, go back to Donovan McNabb days, always been considered one of the most creative offensive minds. And this goes all the way back to when he was an assistant at UTEP, right? So I wonder how much of it's Eric Bieniemy. Now, it could be all Eric Bieniemy for all I know. But how much is the offensive coordinator, and how much is the talent, and how much is the head coach? And so when we sit down, why is Eric Bieniemy not getting a job? And I know the first reason is race. Okay, that's where it goes. And there's 2 separate conversations here. Are there a disproportionate of black head coaches in the league to the black players? The answer is an obvious yes. But that's not the same conversation as why is Eric Bieniemy not getting a head coaching job?
Yeah, and I think the situation in regards to looking at the talent that they have is fair, and it's a valid talking point. Now, is it just all of a sudden now all these teams have made the decision going, we actually don't want to hire coaches from really good teams because maybe it's not the coach, it's everything else? Like, is it because they looked at all these hires from the Patriots that haven't worked out, and now is that the feeling?
Well,
like, it's one that, wouldn't you want that, say, if you're the Houston Texans, bringing that mentality, that kind of scheme to your quarterback who has those similar traits and working them in offensively? I look at it overall, and yeah, I'm with you on, it's not just because he's a black guy that he didn't get one of these jobs. I think that teams are struggling to answer that question of, all right, you have the best quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. What can you do when you don't have the best quarterback in the league?
Yeah, and we're not going to know. But I think the other piece is Andy Reid, right? We're celebrating Andy Reid in the last 2 years. All happy because Andy Reid's a nice guy and he's been through a turbulent life, and he finally won a Super Bowl, and we're giving him all this credit. Well, I mean, is there enough credit to go around? Maybe. And again, this is where I don't know the answer. I really would like to talk to someone who is way more versed on the inner workings of the Kansas City Chiefs. Is this Andy Reid's offense, or is this Eric Bieniemy's offense? Is the fact that they are on a different level offensively because of Andy Reid or because of Eric Bieniemy? And to your point, and this is, you don't replicate this just by going to another team if you don't have Patrick Mahomes. I don't care who you've got, you don't replicate it without Pat. Now, you can get creative with all the eye candy they've got, all the motion. And whoever's calling, like, he's calling plays, and I give him a lot of credit. I go back to the 4th down play against Cleveland. Now, the quarterback, it was Henne, right? Chad Henne. After the game, said he and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. He didn't say Eric Bieniemy, to the best of my recollection. They got together on Saturday night and went over that. So this is where when general managers and people are having these conversations, I'm not capping on Eric Bieniemy. Because I'm sitting here scratching my bald head thinking, why is he not a head coach? Like I told you, I would have bet everything that he'd be a head coach in this cycle. But when we have the conversation as to why, there's got to be a reason very smart, versed football men are interviewing him and going a different way.
it's almost like, is Eric Bieniemy going to have to go be an offensive coordinator somewhere
Without
else
Mahomes.
without Patrick Mahomes to show, hey, I can still call
Francisco
plays,
on the
I can
line.
be a pretty good coach, and then get an opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like, as I sit here right now, certainly not doing the due diligence and having the inner working and the knowledge of all these coaches and assistant coaches and the people who are applying for jobs. I'm sitting here thinking, if I'm compiling a list and I've got a team, pick your team, the Rams, the Jaguars, the Browns, the Falcons, whoever. Like, if I just sat here as a layperson, I'd say, gosh, Eric Bieniemy's got to be at the top of my list, doesn't he? But I don't know what they know. And that's why it's not that one team passed. And there's no collusion to keep Eric Bieniemy out of this. And by all accounts, he's a good guy and obviously a good coach, so I don't know. Francisco, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care hotline.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan for a while. Long time, actually. And what's going on there, well, as far as coaches, Reed gives his coaches a lot of freedom.
Okay.
He also gives his players freedom. So, actually, Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the guys, you know, they are a big part of the offense also. If they see something, they know they can do something, they'll put that in the game plan, and you know, so they all work together, and Eric Bieniemy is definitely a huge part of their success, and he deserves his shot. I don't know why he's not getting it. The perfect place would have been Houston for him. Great young quarterback with a lot of the same skills as Mahomes, and the ingenuity of just play calling and using your weapons correctly. They're great at that. I mean, so I don't know really why this guy hasn't done an interview. Maybe it's because he's still coaching and these guys want to get.
That's my thought. Right? There's a big.
I mean, that's,
yeah. No, that's my thought. But like JJ asked yesterday, so what's the difference in these 2 weeks? You know, what are you doing?
I don't see it. If you got a guy that's going to change your franchise, I mean, you want to wait for him. He's worth waiting for. So I don't really know. You know, I mean, the way I look at it, Andy Reid has probably got a couple more years, and then just turn it over to Bieniemy. I mean,
it's interesting.
And then Bieniemy will train, because the Chiefs, what they do is they'll move their quarterbacks coach up. They've done it. They've lost so many coordinators to head coaching jobs, so they'll move. The guys in the system are all very important, and they know the system. So the next one guy leaves, Eric Bieniemy leaves, they'll just make the quarterbacks coach the offense coordinator, and he'll learn, and he'll develop under Andy Reid. They do a real good job at developing the coaches there. Big time.
No, that's good. All right, man. Thank you.
Take care, man.
See you. It's interesting. You know, is this a coach in waiting thing? I think if it lasts and lasts and lasts, it might be. Do you get this feeling Andy Reid's got 2 years, 3 years? I mean, I don't know how many. How old's Andy Reid? How long does he want to do
That hasn't crossed my mind. One thing, though, why is it that an NFL team wouldn't be willing to pull a college move? Like, if you like a guy enough, is it just because it's never happened? Like, because don't coaches in college take jobs all the time and then say, hey, I'm going to finish the last 2 weeks here. I'm going to coach the team in the bowl game. Or I'm going to coach the team
because
in the
I think and I could be wrong on this, but I think it's a rule. You cannot hire that man as a coach until his season is over. I believe that's an NFL rule. That's what I've been hearing. So they can interview him, but they can't hire him until his season's over. Now you can have an agreement, but I mean, what's the difference? It comes down to, I mean, he's not going to work for you. How important are these 2 to 3 weeks in your franchise? And obviously, they seem it's important. Look at all the evaluation the Rams have done. Look what's happened with Aaron Rodgers and Ben Roethlisberger's conversation.
Well,
with
maybe
the
that's
Steelers
something that should be addressed
Stafford.
by coaches or said coaching union. Is if because most of these guys aren't going on runs back to back anyway, so the opportunities are opening up. And as we've pointed out, the other guys that have been hired, well, when they've been hired right after a team
right after they're out,
because now they have that ability. So maybe just in the future, that's something they should think about. Is if you want to hire a coach from a playoff team, maybe you can have an agreement and thus start things going. But having said coach finish out the year like we see in college.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. 505-246-0610. It's actually a really good conversation. And what is the right way? I how the 2-3 weeks that it's going to take that they can't have him, that he can't get started. You look at what's happened around the league, JJ. From Matt Stafford to Deshaun Watson to the Rams conversations to the Ben Roethlisberger conversation to what's going on in Green Bay with their quarterback. Everybody's moving on personnel conversations / decisions. Does it make sense? Is that why he's not getting hired? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Nonprofit organizations have always...
Second fielder who's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, and then we'll score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound, Cowboys. Right side, David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
And the Bieniemy thing is going to be one that's going to continue. Why? And Edward came in with this whole he might be better off. Hey, can I tell you a quick coaching story, by the way? That just kind of happened yesterday. This is a big Doc Holliday house, right? I'm big on Doc Holliday. He was with us. He was on our show back in October when at the time he was the coach at Marshall. They had the 50th anniversary of the plane crash, and Marshall at the time, JT, was ranked, 15th, 16th in the country, right? They were off to a 6-0, 7-0 start. Doc got fired after the season. But I went to the office yesterday, and I've been working out of home, so it's been a minute before I was at the office, and there was a box that was delivered via I think maybe even U.S. mail. I don't even know. And it was addressed to my daughter, care of me. So I brought it home. And this is why I root for people, dude. What was Marshall in the New Mexico Bowl in 2017? Was it 3 years ago now? And I remember at the time, after the game, my daughter, Addie, was so at that time she was 11. And Doc and his wife, Diane, were so nice to her. And they sent her afterwards an ornament. And it's a Christmas tree ornament, a Marshall helmet. And Addie sent back a thank you note. And I just thought it was really nice that they thought of her. Well, there was a box sitting on my thing, and Addie read the note, and it was from Diane and Doc Holliday to Addie, thinking of you, and we have this for you just in case Marshall made a return trip to the New Mexico Bowl this year, thinking of you and how special you are and how great a time we had at the New Mexico Bowl, and wanted to have this. She said something to I'm sure Diane wrote it, but how you made such an impression on us, and we can't wait to see you on ESPN one day, and wanted you, and it was a Christmas ornament, a Go Herd Marshall ornament. But I mean, it's like, like they meet so many people, dude. They meet so many people as coaches, and for Doc and Diane Holliday to think of my daughter, and put that in the mail and send it to her, like Addie felt so good about herself, and I felt so good about people. It was just one of those, man, I told you about, I'm in this whole perspective mode, right? But that's why when you find me rooting for people, it's usually for people. Like it's for I tell you all the time, I love when good things happen to good people. I can't wait till Doc gets a new job. But I just thought that was one of the coolest, classiest things. That was just out of the blue and so nice. Oh.
Yeah, it's really neat. And it always, just highlights, you never know. Sometimes people are going to have bad moments, but that might be an only moment you ever meet someone, and you never get a chance to redeem yourself or actually have a true, honest moment. And we have so many of these chances in our lives, and that's a really neat story that of all the things they've done, all the games, all the people, all the places they've been, they made that gesture.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool. All right, I got an email on Eric Bieniemy. It comes in jeff@610knml.com. You can hit JJ at, check this out, jj@610knml.com. It's from Jason. It says, good morning, OD. So on Eric Bieniemy, I'm going to offer a different take, and maybe this is off base, but here we go. In a league where size is a big deal, Bieniemy is 5 feet 6 inches tall. Yes, I know it doesn't matter how tall your coach is, but this is a league where there's a stigma attached to how tall or how short the quarterback is, and he's the leader on the field. This is a league where they have height and weight cards for a particular position during the draft process. I'm sure the owner is used to looking up at the guy he's interviewing. Here's the other thing. Do you think owners are football junkies or guys that own their teams? I think it's do you think they're football junkies or guys who own the team? I think it's the latter. So I think 5'6" is a large number for Bieniemy to overcome. Well, tonight the Aggies get Grand Canyon. It's a big game for Grand Canyon. A loss to the underdog Aggies could be devastating, as the Aggie roster is in flux and has played poquito games. Crimsonally from Jason. So I'm going to guess, JJ, the interviews that were done, especially in this day and age, and done during the week, were done by Zoom. How tall is Sean McVay, the Rams coach? How tall is Matt LaFleur, the Packers coach? Both those guys seem pretty small. I'm not sure. How tall was Tom Coughlin, who coached for a long, long time? I don't think he's a very big. Like I get that, but I don't. I just don't.
Especially with a guy in Eric Bieniemy that was in the NFL for 8 years.
Yeah.
As a player.
I mean, I don't know. Because he's 5'6", is that keeping him out from being a head coach? I don't think Jerry Johnson was. Jimmy Johnson was very tall, was he? Is he?
Well, Sean McVay is a giant then compared to Eric Bieniemy because he's 5'10".
Yeah, that's a big 4 inches. I mean, it's an interesting thought, Jason. I don't think that's right, and I'm going to guess that these owners were doing Zoom interviews, and so you can look pretty tall in a Zoom interview. I mean, that's a tough one for me to buy into. If there's validity to it, I guess I don't see it. I just don't. Wall of Ho, Lobo Hobo said, Jeff, the legendary Phil Spector, known for his Wall of Sound, died last week. Well, he lives on in the Wall of Ho. Well, if so, so be it. I got more emails for you. You got time to get in at 505-246-0610. And I wonder what you think happens tomorrow. Lobo women play Fresno. Men also play Fresno State. How do those two games go? Coming off of two really, really tight games. We've watched these series, especially on the men's side, swing dramatically. But usually it's because one team won by double figures. How does it swing this time? We'll get into that next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Ramos rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the...
Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it.
How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
boy, Jefferson wide open. Getting
Jefferson to Daraji. Into Watson with the jam.
Far ball again. Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbayosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming.
Lobos in Fresno State tomorrow. They lost last night on the men's side, 64-62 in overtime. Ladies were winners in Canyon, Texas, 82-80. JJ had the call. How about again tomorrow morning? 10:30, the ladies will play here on the Sports Animal. 11 o'clock start, 10:30 pregame show. So, JJ, what do you expect tomorrow? We've watched big swings. I'll start you with the women. I would expect another really tight battle because it feels to me like those are two teams that are evenly matched.
Yeah, so going into this one, if you're Fresno State, you're expecting more efficiency out of the Cavendish sisters, who missed a lot of shots at the rim. So you give UNM credit for what they're able to do defensively at times. Then on the flip side, if you're UNM against that zone, you're figuring a couple more of those three-point shots are going to fall, which would then even out and lead to another tight game down the stretch. Fingers crossed, because it's exciting watching these two teams play.
Yeah, I think all that's right. All right, men's side. You and I both looked at the line yesterday at 7.5 and said, oh, God, that's not enough. We would have both lost. Lobos had the game lost, then they had the game won, then they lost the game. Is this another tight one, or do one of these teams figure out a way to pull away? Because Fresno State did not shoot well. You can give a lot of credit to the Lobo defense, and somewhere in between lies the real truth. But you kind of get a gut feeling they're gonna make some buckets, aren't they?
Yeah, with Fresno State, you figure that they'll be the team that cashes in on a couple more of those shots, just because we've seen the Lobos. It hasn't happened. It's not something that's happened all year with jumpers and UNM. And the Orlando Robinson, I thought they did a really good job defending him. He'll probably find a way to score more than 2 points and score inside. The 2-point percentage was insane, but the Lobos did such a good job of defending and not fouling at the rim. Can you keep that up? That's going to be really hard to do a second game, because all it takes is one whistle, and then you kind of start going down that road of foul trouble. Then Fresno State going to the free throw line. So I think that's going to be really hard to do a second time around. But we know what it's going to take. Just defense to give yourself a chance right now for UNM.
So Fresno State on 2-point field goals for the game were 11 for 29 overall. In the first half, Fresno State, and again, if you're just joining us, it's an insane number. Fresno State made a total of 0 2-point shots. 0 2-point shots. They were 5 for 27 in the first half. 5 for 15 from three-point land. That means they were 0 for 12 on 2-point shots. It's almost impossible that you don't get a layup, that you don't get a putback, that somebody doesn't hit a jumper, that there's not a fast break, that there's I can't tell you I've ever seen a game, and I can't tell you exactly I've not, but I can't tell you I ever remember seeing a game that a team went a half without a 2-point field goal. Like, it feels impossible, doesn't it, in Division I college men's basketball?
It does. At some point, you're going to break through. It feels like you even get a bucket in transition, anything, and that did not happen in the first half.
All right. Strange line of questioning, Grady says. He says, I understand this probably won't, it did make it on air today. He says, forgive me if I'm not understanding your point, because I heard the start of the point and didn't get it all. With that said, tell me again of the head coaches recently hired who/which one is more qualified to be a head coach than Bieniemy? I find it strange that I understand it's a hypothetical and not your argument, are questioning Bieniemy's real role in the Chiefs' offense. It's almost like you're looking for football reasons to disqualify him. Did you question the real roles of the recent hires and the offensive, defensive hires of their respective teams? I understand you wanting the reasoning to be more than just about race. And as an example, insert Houston's new hire here, which, by the way, seems like pandering to me. Why would they hire someone with his qualifications? It seems like a desperate attempt to appease Watson and or make sure that they, as an organization, don't get a reputation of running off black superstars. Hopefully I'm wrong. Race cannot be ignored, especially in the overall coaching ladder. The traditional pipeline to success typically involves being an offensive coordinator at some point, with the next step being head coach. Black coaches have for a long time been position coaches and then defensive coordinators, and more telling, they're usually described as fiery or great with players or great motivators, but not usually offensive geniuses or gurus or even hard workers, guys that sleep at the facilities. Now, are none of the black coaches any of these? For sure not. And are all of the white coaches these? Again, for sure not. It just seems to me that more of them, white coaches, are described as than black coaches. Unconscious or conscious biases are real and can affect people's opinions and decisions. And I doubt that the majority of the people interviewing these coaches are black and therefore don't always see a younger version of themselves. Representation matters, Grady. Wow. Totally not what I was saying. Totally not what we were saying. And everything predicated said, I don't understand why Eric Bieniemy's not a head coach. And I'm certainly surprised that he's not. Us having the conversation, tell me where we went wrong having this conversation, and God forbid we brought up race, because that's where the whole conversation's gone with Eric Bieniemy. All I said is I don't know that the whole reason he didn't get the job is race.
I think the position coach versus coordinator conversation is one that needs to be addressed overall, because we kind of see,
That's
as Grady pointed out, that ladder is usually position coach, coordinator, head coaching opportunity. And I'm not sold on a lot of the things I'm hearing about Eric Bieniemy. In
regards to what?
And to kind of Grady's point, how everyone is just, we're trying to figure out why. So you start going down that rabbit hole. But I look at it and go, I don't know where Sean McVay came from, but he had a good offensive mind. And I would think that Eric Bieniemy, working with Andy Reid and this offense, even if he has Patrick Mahomes, has some great concepts and understands said game to put people in a position to succeed. So I wouldn't hold that against him. It's a question that you bring up and go, all right, how would said coach look with Patrick Mahomes versus average quarterback X over here?
Jared Goff.
Yeah. So, but also to Grady's point, if they were quote unquote pandering to Deshaun Watson, wouldn't they have waited and then hired the guy that he's talked about in Eric Bieniemy?
And the fact that we're questioning his role, as, is this what people are asking? Do we question the other people? No, they got hired and we're not having a conversation about them. Like, I'm a little offended that that's where he's taking this at us, because honestly, I think that's crap. But it is what it is. I read it, and he gave me his opinion. I'll give that to you. Enjoy the weekend, boys and girls. Jim Rome Show is next. The Dan Patrick Show is after that. Sports Bar with Trulio and Carlisle at 3. Don't forget to join JJ tomorrow morning at 10:30. Alden, J. Pole, great work on the TV side. Enjoy the weekend. Micah, terrific as always. JJ, enjoy the birthday weekend. A 2-year-old Austin Buck this weekend.
Crazy.
Happy birthday to him. Yep.
Thank you.
Happy
Y'all,
birthday to him.
have a good weekend.
Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll talk to you on Monday.
The lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Palm.
another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it and had some nice looks at the rim. Win inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie, saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Stripped. Daniel stripped him. The Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, it's got some room. 50, 40.